Hi, I'm Richard Parker. I'm Chief Customer Officer and co-founder of Elements.cloud. I'm going to take you through 3 golden rules to deliver a better return on investment from Salesforce and just discuss some of the questions that get raised around these. So, diving into the rule number 1, that is that skipping business analysis does not save time. Now, it may seem like it does because you're doing less things, but the implications can be quite profound. Second rule, what you don't know can hurt you. Generally true in life, particularly true in a Salesforce context. Third rule, capture knowledge about your Salesforce org continually. There is no later. There is no, we'll get to that later, we'll document it later, we'll link it later. There is no later. So those are the 3 golden rules, and we're going to drill into these over the next 10 minutes or so. So the implication of the first one is that the focus should be on building the right things first time. Now, in a business analysis context, that means challenging what people are asking to do, understanding what that means so that you can spot issues and identify opportunities as early as possible in the development lifecycle. Now, there's a ton of resources around the concept of shift left. We've spoken about it this week. Very happy to take you into that, but fundamentally it's about saving an order of magnitude in terms of time and money and potential risk by spotting things early. Now, in terms of the second one, it's about thinking of your org as being a source of risk in terms of, if I'm going to change things, build on things, what are the impact of these changes? What could I break by doing this? Now, also, it's a question of understanding potential and challenging the way that we think we're going to go and implement this because of the way that it's built and the dependencies that are there. And this third area is about documenting what happened, what you've done, how you've done it. Those are the obvious things, but those are relatively easy to figure out. The key one is documenting why. Why did you do things a certain way? And we're not saying go and document that from scratch. You probably have a ton of that knowledge, certainly walking around in people's heads, but also sitting in lots of the applications, the formats, the content that you've got around the organization already. So how do you pull that together as quickly and efficiently as possible so that you can use that knowledge? And in terms of using that knowledge across these 3 golden rules, there are big wins to be had in terms of shifting left, doing good business analysis. 80% reduction in rework is the kind of thing you should be looking to achieve. Just even understanding the processes, challenging them, analyzing them, making sure that you are not just implementing software solutions, but actually addressing and improving the end-to-end work that people are doing can result in 25% plus process improvement just off the bat before you even go live, before you even push that automation into production. Now, in terms of org discovery, there are platforms now. Elements.cloud is out there, and we can save you significantly more than 50% of the typical time it takes to people to go and cobble together an understanding of what's going on in an org. But the key thing here is knowing it isn't about just doing an org discovery once. It's about building a platform of knowledge to drive change with confidence time and time again. And the final point is a very controversial one. How much time do you save looking for stuff? Well, let me posit the first point, which is if you don't know and you can't find that information and the people who know about it left, or the consulting company who did it left without documenting anything, then the answer is it doesn't matter how much time you spend, you're never going to find the information. Even if the information is there, but it's not linked anywhere in context, typically IDC's studies over the years generically about trying to find stuff in corporations is in the hours per day to hours per week, trying to rediscover what's been had there. So I don't know what it is for you, but I can guarantee there is a massive return on investment around that. So let's look at this from a slightly different angle. In terms of business analysis, why do so many people not do good business analysis? Well, a lot of people are very committed in delivering frankly, fantastic results most of the time with a real agile mindset. Let's just get in there, build it, prototype it. And if people don't like it, we can go and iterate because of fantastic platforms like Salesforce, where it is so flexible and it's so fast to do things. Agile doesn't actually mean no business analysis. What it means is an appropriate amount, what's necessary, but you still need to go and analyze it. So don't use that as an excuse. Another thing is clicks, not code. I don't need to analyze because I can do it so quickly. And it's so simple. Yeah, that may be true, but that pick list item you've just changed or added or whatever it might be, how do you know you haven't just broken really important dashboard or some reports that are out there? This little bit of automation, this tweak that we've just done, oh, I didn't realize that that integration was dependent on the way it worked before. It's broken. Oh, by the way, nobody knew that integration didn't run 6 months later. So analysis and understanding is critically important. Another thing people say often in the way that the Salesforce ecosystem has evolved is, hang on a minute, my job is to take orders here, and if people want to build stuff, I can build it. But if I challenge what senior management and users are asking for, I'm not being perceived as delivering value. Well, we would actually stress that if you are there to say, hang on a minute, why do you need that? And why is that important? And why does it need to work that way? And use 5 whys and other business analysis techniques, you can add a ton of value, even if that means that what people are asking for doesn't stand up to that and they don't get it built. That is not you stopping and not being helpful. Quite the opposite. That is you being incredibly valuable and making sure that the right things get built and the wrong things don't. Another thing people say is, but hang on a minute, I got a list of user stories here. We ran some workshops. I've checked them with the users. They sign them off. We're running good user acceptance tests. Those get signed off. We go live. Surely our users will be happy. Well, if no one looked at the end-to-end process, the end-to-end user experience, rather than the user stories along the way in a spreadsheet or as a bunch of Jira stories, if no one challenged, okay, what are we trying to deliver here from an end-to-end perspective, it's quite possible that it won't be used in the way that people intended, or that the same users who said, great, yep, that'll do it, turn around and go, oh no, we never use that, it doesn't really work for us. So business analysis is also about driving better adoption, better return on investment from that perspective. The final point I want to make here is people are increasingly relying on DevOps solutions, fantastic as they are for building things right and catching conflicts around integrations and in sandboxes and so on. If you can catch them earlier, if you can catch them during design, if you can catch them so that you plan sprints in the right way before you even get to the validated user stories, you can save an order of magnitude of time and effort. More than 80% of rework, and from a process perspective, if you're driving that side, you can make significant process improvements. Moving on to the org discovery side, a lot of people say, but hang on a minute, there's various buttons I can press, there's things I can do. I don't need a strategy to build up knowledge. I can find that out on demand. Well, yeah, you can, but how much time are you wasting every time you do that? And a lot of people say, well, hang on a minute, those things are free and I can put them in spreadsheets and I can manipulate them and I can search and I can do stuff. Great. Is free really free though? Because you're having to do it every time. And those utilities and spreadsheets aren't necessarily giving you the answers for today. It was when you ran that report. What happened in the last 24 hours? What happens every day when things change? So having a platform like Elements.cloud that looks at your org and syncs that information every single day and highlights the changes, phenomenally important. A couple of people-related things though, people going, wow, I've got a great team. Maybe true. They really understand our org already. We know what's going on when we make changes. We understand the impacts. Well, that may be true, but what if that team, somebody leaves? What if it's an area that you don't know and they really knew about? What if the documentation about that and the knowledge about that actually left in their heads, or it was somewhere, but nobody knows where it is now? So org discovery is not just about people having that knowledge in their heads, it's having access to it. And a point people often make is, well, yeah, but Salesforce, I mean, everyone's in the same boat. I mean, this is growing so fast. We're doing so many disruptive, crazy, wonderful things here that we weren't able to do before. Not understanding the impact all the time, it's kind of part of the picture. It's part of disruptive change. Now, that may be true today, but increasingly we're able to show people how there's no need for that. You can understand the impacts, you can understand what's going on and not make those mistakes. So it's about driving change with confidence. It's not just about how quickly you can get this information. It's an ongoing asset that you're driving. And finally, org documentation. Back to Agile. It's a common thing. People say, no, we don't need documentation. Agile says no documentation. It doesn't. It says only document what's necessary to implement. Now, if you have a quick and agile way of documenting workflows, linking to the relevant user stories, syncing with Jira, putting that in context of metadata, then fantastic. You can still do that in a very agile way. As I said before, it's all there in requirements and user stories. Why don't we just live with that? Well, that's not in the context of the changes that we made because of Scrum sessions, the things that we decided to do in a slightly different architectural way. The user story itself didn't change, but we made changes, perhaps in the workflow, perhaps we added some things, perhaps things have changed around those user stories that, although they're like jigsaw puzzle pieces, you don't get the whole picture. So pulling this together with good documentation makes a difference. There's no value in documentation once we built the solution. We've heard that before in the context of it was designed, we built it, who's ever going to look at that stuff? Well, to be honest, if you put it in context, it can be immensely valuable and help you make better, more intelligent decisions on an ongoing basis. Another picture here is, hang on a minute, but I'm kind of intrinsic to the value of Salesforce. And if I document everything I know about the org, I'm kind of giving away my power. Now, I'm sure almost everybody I've ever spoken to does not express that as some kind of defense for not documenting, but it holds people back from saying, here's everything I know. The reality is, with where Salesforce is growing in the org, growing in the world today, the demand for skills, the demand for people's time to focus on driving change at ever increased pace means it's quite the opposite. The more you can document well, the more you can succinctly capture what is going on in the org, the more valuable you are to your employers, to your customers as a consultant. And the final point here is it takes too long. That's what a lot of people say. I haven't got time. I'm a consultant. They're not paying me to document. Or I'm on a project here. They haven't put any time in. Well, make it a deliverable. It's very easy to defend the value of quickly pulling together, while it's there in the moment, the knowledge that you need to understand how to build on this, how to change it in the future. So, save hours per week. What is it for you? Let's work together, engage with us. There is no question for some people, this is making something possible that isn't possible at the moment. For others, it's definitely addressing an ability to deliver more value more quickly, to increase the speed, reduce the time to value in terms of implementations. So whatever those numbers are for you, I guarantee there's return on investment to be had there, as well as building better quality over time into your org. So some actions to take away. First is, there's a bunch of resources behind this that you can dig into. If you haven't actually engaged with Elements before, you can go to our website. You can book time with us, or you can go and register and start a free proof of concept. There are resources, there are videos, there are courses, things we've run this week. There's an academy, and go and witness for yourself the power of UPN, Universal Process Notation, or on the process side of business analysis. In terms of org discovery, you can embed that into every implementation as a starting point, just by literally plugging in a few minutes, sync, and get knowledge and insight straight out of the box, automatically generated. As I said just now, include org documentation as a deliverable, and your repository of knowledge, your asset, will grow with you over time. And there's some links here to some resources. There's great process mapping courses, both in Trailhead and if you're a consulting organization in the Partner Learning Camp. There's an entire org discovery process that we've built. We did a session earlier this week as well. You can look for 10 lessons from analyzing 7 billion metadata items. In fact, more than that, billions of metadata items can be delivered through that link. And the 3 Golden Rules article, looking at other aspects of this there to be had as well. Thank you for investing the time. Look forward to engaging with you. And just remember to live by those 3 Golden Rules. Thank you.